Welcome back to the farm, guys, for another project. It's your first time. I hope you enjoy. So today we're going to be working on is going to be a multi-layered carve for a friend of mine. He's starting up his own coffee business. So we're going to be making him a layered carving so he can have that, so he can put that on his cart. So let's head inside the shop and let's start carving. Look at these little beggars. All these animals have become little beggars. The ducks and the geese, the cats, the dogs, everybody wants treats. All right, so I'm going to show you the first thing we're going to start with on this sign is this is a couple of pieces of maple that I just got done gluing up. Now these are rough cuts. You can still see some of the rough edges up here. But if you look here, this board isn't perfectly level. So I want to show you how I would start to deal with something level like that, because when you are doing a V-carve, you want to have a perfectly square surface. Otherwise, you're just really not going to pick up the detail. So let me kind of set the camera up here and show you how I'm going to get this a nice level surface. So the first thing you're going to look for is which surface you're going to be carving in. So this is the surface that I know I'm going to want to carve. So I'm going to end up flipping this over twice to get it absolutely perfect. But what I actually use is I actually picked up these little plastic door shims. I think I got a 16 pack for like $3 or $4. So I figure out where I want, and I can see that the high spot is back here on the back of this, and I can actually see where the boards are kind of bowed on the bottom. So I will actually slide these underneath there until I get the amount of movement. So you see now my movement's gone, so now I'm perfectly level. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other side of the board. We'll chest it again in the front, and then we'll actually go through and run our surfacing cut. Okay, so now I've got 3 shims on the back. So if you look here on the front now we have no more movement. So I'm going to go ahead and I put a level on it just to verify that I'm level this way, and then I'm going to turn my level and verify it this way as well. So now I know I am perfectly level on both axes. So now I'll go through and I'll run my 1-inch bit and I'll level this whole piece out, and then I'm going to flip it over, and then I know that I have a perfectly level surface, and then I'm going to resurface the other side, and then I'll pick which side after I level those out, which has the least amount of little knots and defects that I actually want to do the carving in. So let's fire this thing up and get it leveled out. All right, so 2000s, that almost got it. I have a very slight ridge here and a really slight ridge here in the back. So we'll do one more pass with those, and then we're gonna move it over to the table saw, and we're gonna cut our lines here on both borders and in the back and the front. So then our final product will be perfectly level on this side, and then we're gonna flip it over. We'll run the same leveling passes on the other side, but then we're gonna add 2 channels for 2 square metal tubes that we're gonna run on the back, not only for support, but also so he has something to hang it from his cart from. So let's run one more pass and get this thing cut to size. All right, so I spared you having to watch me stain this thing. So now we got the sign is already stained and ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the first layer on the carve. So we're gonna use our 1/4-inch bit, and then we'll switch over to the 1/16 bit to go through and pull out all the fine detail. And then we're gonna leave that 1/16 bit in to go do the second level because it has a lot of fine detail. And then we'll throw the 60-degree V bit to come back and put the final little touches on the end. So let's get this thing fired up and let's get started. All right, we're just getting ready to cut this out, and as I looked a little bit closer here, the very corner of this star is blown off, and the very bottom of this one is broken off as well. So to kind of combat that, I think what I'm going to end up doing while I still have this clamped on and I already have my 0 set, is I'm going to go ahead and swap back to my 1/16 bit. I'm going to smooth these out, and then I'm going to put my V bit back on, and I'm going to actually have these carved down into it, and then I'll have to come back and I'll have to hand paint those before I finish the whole sign. So sometimes that happens, and I don't know if you can see right there. You know, when you're using glued up pieces of wood, you never know what you're going to run into as you're getting down through it, little knots or little imperfections you can't see. So you got to make do with what you got. All right, we just got it cut out, so let's get the machine out of the way here. See if she comes right out. Nice. Came right out. Got some cleanup sanding work, but that just came out awesome. That dark stain with that maple. I just love that combination. Now on these stars, I'm gonna have to come through and hand paint these. I actually might fill these in with maybe a different colored epoxy, maybe like a black epoxy to make them stand out. This customer hasn't decided what color, so I'm gonna end up hand painting everything down inside all this detail. So we'll see what color they come up with and I'll match that for the epoxy. But let's get some sanding done and let's touch base with the customer and get this thing painted. All right, we are all sanded down. As you can see, I'm just starting to add some paint here. So we're gonna add red paint to all the detail on the horseshoe. I haven't figured out what we're gonna do with the stars yet. I think I might paint those yellow, but the rest of this we're just gonna leave with that really nice pretty maple. So I'm not gonna bore you with me painting because this is probably gonna take me well over an hour. So we'll be back once we add some clear coat to this. Just got done adding the first clear coat after it's all been painted, and that turned out perfect. Everything came out super nice. I hope they enjoy that because that was another fun sign to make. Well, thanks for joining me for another video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share. If you have any questions or comments, please put those down below. I'll do what I can to answer them for you. If you really enjoyed this project, you want to join me for all my other adventures, all my other projects, consider hitting that subscribe button. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you around.